You're on the best of the Morning X. If you keep listening, it might make sense. 99X.
The Morning X Barnes, Leslie and Jimmy, and 32 million albums ago, we sat down with a young lady named Alanis Morissette. My, how things have changed.
Not really.
Just a little bit. Man, 32 million albums ago, we were sitting near our conference room. You had just played to the secretaries. And at that point, probably, I don't know, sold 1,000 or 2 records. And then you've been gone all this time. What have you done since then?
We toured for what seemed like forever.
But then you disappeared for a long time. I mean, you did the right thing and went away.
Yeah, I took a year and a half off after the tour. I just needed to assimilate and process all of what had happened because I couldn't while I was on the road. I didn't have the energy.
Do your people tell you that, or do you say, you know what, you get the sense like, I've got to get out of the eye?
My quote-unquote people really don't tell me anything.
They don't suggest, Alanis, maybe you should like back off and hide, or do you just sense, you know what, I better get out of the public eye?
No, my friends and people that I work with around me just encouraged me to just listen to my gut, really.
Probably through your sanity, you wanted to take some time off after being on the road so much. Did you do a triathlon? Because I remember seeing a picture in, I think, Rolling Stone.
Yeah, I did 3 of them when I got off the road. I loved it. I had done it when I was younger, and then there was this proverbial fork in the road where I had to somewhat choose between music and being an athlete, and obviously music was my passion.
You ever run a marathon?
No, but I want to, and I want to when this tour ends.
Well, that's like a mental thing. People who run marathons, they do it more for the mental clarity.
Was that why you did a triathlon? That's brutal. That's pain.
It's not pain.
To me, that is pain.
Well,
right.
I had to walk up 5 flights of stairs.
That's pain.
Our elevators were down the other day. To me, that was pain. So,
Did you go into training for that?
I trained for a while, yeah. I just really was looking forward to using my body as an instrument. Obviously we live in a society that says we're ornaments, and that we should look a certain way. And it was just great for me to let go of all of that and just be a machine.
Just when you heard Alanis Morissette was doing a triathlon, you're like, what?
I know.
Why?
Why not?
How would you compare that sense of accomplishment to what you did with selling 32 million records?
I don't even think of either of them in terms of accomplishment as much as I think of it in terms of expression. They're just expressing different parts of myself, and records and songs to me are snapshots of moments of times in my life and always have been.
But there still must be a real sense of pride and accomplishment. You look in the mirror and say, I've done well with
You've conquered.
my life. I've done well with what I set out to do.
I guess it depends on how we define well. I felt like when I finished Jagged Little Pill, I had done well. And I feel like now that I finished this record that I've done well.
If nobody had bought it, would you have still felt as successful?
I would have loved the record. Probably wouldn't have felt as connected with other people in that. When I wrote Jagged Little Pill, I felt very isolated with a lot of what I felt and wrongly thought that I was one of the only people on earth that felt all these things, only to discover that there were a lot of people that did and were as introspective as I was, if not more in some cases. So it was extremely heartening. But my motivation is to create, is to express. There's so many different ways we can do it, and I love that.
Looking back, you took the sabbatical for a year and a half, and the album probably sat on my shelf for about a year and a half, and because it was played so much, I went back the other day. It was sunny, it was nice. Stuck Jagged Little Pill in, cranked it up. And that album is just almost near perfect,
song
from
song,
beginning to end.
Wow!
And you went in the studio and just whipped that out, didn't you? I mean, you and Glenn Ballard went in over a couple of nights.
We do a song a day and a night. We'd sort of write and record it.
Gosh, 2 years, and you go in there in 2 days and spit out something that's near perfection. I mean, looking back on that, you have to be just so. I mean, I would be so relaxed and to do this album, to go in and go, I have no pressure.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
I'll do what I want.
My pressure was more a time one, in that people wanted the record out yesterday, and I knew that I may need to take 10 years off or 10 months. I didn't know how long I'd need to take time off for, so just writing and recording is my favorite part of everything.
You didn't feel the pressure that there's so much expected of this album because of the success of the last album? Because a lot of people would assume that an artist would put that kind of pressure on themselves, or that the record company expects you to do this many million. Did you feel any of that?
I know there are a lot of people that are on the business end of what I do that are invested in this selling more or half or a certain amount, but they would never say that to me. I don't think, because it's not what I do this for.
The title of the new record, supposed Former Infatuation Junkie, I saw a quote from you, I think in Rolling Stone, that you said that it means that you still have infatuations. What does the title mean?
It means several different things, but the main thing I think of when I think of that line is that in the past, when I would think of myself being infatuated with someone, I equated it with pain and confusion and being overwhelmed. And now that I understand myself a little more in relationships, I can actually enjoy that time as opposed to want to skip over it entirely.
How would you compare this record then with the last record? Because the reviews, and I've only read a few that said that it is a little bit more experimental.
Mm-hmm. Musically, I play a few more instruments, and I wrote a few of the songs alone and co-produced it with Glenn this time. So I was able to articulate what I wanted a little more. And on an emotional level, I just feel like I'm allowing myself to viscerally respond to things or react to things, but I take a little more responsibility, maybe.
Are you purely creative driven? I mean, it seems like as far back as you go in the entertainment scene, because you've done so many things on camera and then musically. I mean, is it just purely creative? Were your family, were they banging on you early to get into something like that, or was that just you wanting to be in the spotlight?
I think when I was younger, it was a combo of being creative, wanting to express all the time.
Who did you see that you thought, man, I want to do that?
I loved Annie Lennox when I was younger, just how she was so her. And I also was enamored with what I thought being in the public eye brought you.
Fame? I mean, did you look at that and go, I want fame?
I did, to a certain extent, but not so much so that I was obsessed with it.
Is it what you thought it would be?
No, and there's a small part of it that, yes, it is exactly.
What's the no?
No, in that it really doesn't change how you feel about yourself. If you feel X about yourself,
you're still you.
You feel X more so about yourself when you're in the public eye. And it just really requires a lot of you. And then, yes, in the sense that you are in a community almost of people that do a lot of what you do. There's not as much of a sense of community as I thought there was, but there will be this time.
Alanis Morissette last night, was that the final show, the Tabernacle show? Was that the final on this club tour, the small club thing?
In America.
And now what?
Man.
We have a show in Toronto, in Canada, then we go to Europe.
That's just a great thing for the fans, though, to be able to see you in a club that's, 2,000 or 3,000 as opposed to the big arena. So that was a great thing for you to do for the fans.
Oh, it's fun for me. I love intimate environments.
Yesterday, before you played at the Tabernacle, there was a rumor that you were dead. Did you hear that one yet?
Yeah, I heard that.
Can you confirm or deny that rumor?
Are you dead?
I can't confirm or deny that rumor.
CNN and some other people
There's parts of me that are dead.
Alanis Morissette was found dead in a hotel room in Atlanta.
Oh, that's really sad.
I don't know where that stuff starts.
It made its way into the CNN room.
What's the best rumor you've heard about yourself yet?
That one's tough to top.
I can't even say that's the best rumor.
Have you even heard something and went, what?
Not a ton. I don't feel like I'm fodder that much, as much as some people I know.
Have you heard this week's stuff yet? I mean, has everything got back to you this week? Anything gotten back to you this week? Because there's a new one out there.
One that you're about to share with me, or one that...
I'm going to tell you.
I don't know what he's talking about.
I don't know.
The new one is that you and Leonardo DiCaprio are a hot item.
Right, I heard that one.
That one's all over. You have not heard that one?
No, I just heard that one, actually.
Oh, you just heard that one?
Yeah.
No, you have a boyfriend, don't you?
I'm dating someone right now, yeah.
Are you friends with Leo? I mean, do you know him?
Yeah.
There's Leo calling.
Yeah, there he is.
He's calling. Are you talking about me? Hold on a second.
Can we just talk for a second about the video, because it's so talked about? First of all, I mean, obviously you're not really standing out in the middle of a New York street, but are you really nude in that?
We're standing out in a street.
You were. That wasn't done with a blue screen? I mean, that wasn't done in a studio?
No, that was in a street.
What city is that?
It was downtown LA.
Now,
wait a minute.
What time of day was that?
We did 2 overnight shoots.
Usually those are done overnight.
And then they lighten it up?
No, and then the sun rose in the morning, and there we were.
And what were you wearing?
We had to cover a few parts of myself just so that we wouldn't get arrested, but other than that, I wasn't wearing anything.
And whose idea was that?
It was my idea. I thought about it in my shower one morning, just thinking about what the song
And when
it
came to fruition, when you're actually out on the street, because in the shower it may have sounded like a great idea, then you get out there and you're thinking, what was I thinking? Or were you 100% comfortable with it all the way through?
I was so happy during the shoot. It was quite freeing and beautiful, actually.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
It's good to see you again. Alanis Morissette on The Morning X.
The best of The Morning X.